What up, everyone? Welcome back to StackBMX.com's social media and YouTube channel. I'm Ken Sapale. Today we're going to do how to install a integrated 1.1/8" threadless headset. Like always, we're doing a contest on YouTube. So at 2,500 subscribers, we're going to give away a free stranger parts package, which we already hit. So about to give it away any day now. At 5,000 subscribers, we're going to give away a free bicycle. All you got to do is do a few things. Subscribe to this channel, comment on this video, like this video, and turn on your notification bells. And later on in this video, we'll tell you all the rules and what'll actually help you enter that contest and win. And then, what you're going to be getting. So yeah, let's start this off and kind of help you guys out, understand what's going on with the headset and how to put it together. And if you're having problems with it not spinning right or just not working, I can kind of give you some tips and tricks to help you get into the right place and make sure that your headset is working right. So if you're a beginner or you're an expert, maybe some of these tips and tricks will help you out throughout your way. So yeah, let's get to it. Let's start off with what is an actual headset. So the headset is these little guys right here. They have bearings. Yours might not look exactly like that. They might look really similar. There's basically a cup. There's like a race, which is the inner piece that rides on the bearings. There's the bearings, which are those little ball bearings, the steel little balls that spin around there and help your bicycle spin. So depending if you have an integrated headset, which the cups are not built in, or you got another frame where the cups are pushed into the frame, still kind of the same scenario. The only difference is that integrated are this style where the bearing actually goes into the frame and it sits there. Standard frame has cups that push into the frame. If you're not too sure what frame is which, what I would suggest is just look at the frame. Up here on the top, there's usually like a 45-degree machined angle on this for the integrated. If it's not like that, it's usually just flat, looks like a tube that just got cut off. So if you're wondering, I hope that helped. So yeah, the number one thing that I see people having trouble with headsets is that they just don't know how they go together. Another thing is that they their frame, or they're putting the wrong bearings in or anything like that. So maybe I could help you out with that. So first off, I want to show you kind of how the headset is built. So what I notice is that there's usually this bottom race. Most forks don't need this anymore, and I'll show you why in a sec. But then it usually goes to bearing. This 45 is supposed to go up on the top to go into your frame. This one here is the same bearing, same exact bearing. It doesn't matter if it's on the bottom or the top. This one goes on the top, like so. Right in there. And then this one has a 45 on the other side. The same thing with this bearing. Both of them are exactly the same. Try to show you that. So they're both exactly the same. So it don't matter which one. So let's flop it over. That doesn't matter. So they'll basically go like that, and then this is a compression washer that goes onto your fork, and this is actually what keeps most of your headset tight. So notice how this washer, it kind of drops in and sits in nice like that. What I've noticed is that there's a lot of different styles of these. There's different thicknesses of these based on the headset. I've seen a lot of you guys kind of mix and match headsets, and that's where you guys run into a lot of problems. So try to keep the same pieces together unless you're a little bit more advanced and you kind of understand what's going on. And I can't really tell you everything. It's kind of more of experience and just doing it to figure out how it actually works, but I'll try to help you out right now. So this one doesn't come with an actual washer. Sometimes there's a little washer right here that actually goes in between this little compression piece and the actual cap. What I've seen a lot of times happen is when they switch them out and stuff like this, the cap's machined differently, it's designed different. So what it does is it actually goes down too low and it either rides on this bearing right here, or it actually rides onto your frame right here. So if you're having that problem, I would say take a look at your frame, see if this cup is rubbing, or this cap is rubbing on the frame here, or look to see if it's rubbing on the bearing. The easiest way to notice if it's actually rubbing or anything like that is to take a look at your headset right here. Notice how there's a nice, an oil slick finish on it. If your headset's rubbing and stuff like that and it's not spinning, you'll see aluminum wear right here. If you got a polished headset, it might be a little bit tougher, but you should see some little grease or black marks or something like that where you can tell that the headset has been rubbing. So if yours looks like that, it's probably rubbing. So I would stack a little bit more spacers on top of that to make it actually work. Now, if your headset's being a little loose, I'll kind of show you a couple different things that's going on. Usually when it's loose, there's just not enough spacers, not sucking up enough slack. So you basically do that, and then you put your gooseneck or your stem right on top. So this is a headset cap, this is the compression washer, this is the bearings, and then this is the bottom race. So yeah, let's kind of get to it. I'll show you again. Like I said, a lot of you have problems. Notice how there's a 45-degree machining on here. That's where the bearing sits on top and it rides real smooth. And if you have old school bearings, old school forks and stuff like that, what is going to happen, it's going to be flat and you're going to actually need this bottom race. So you're going to need this guy right here, and that thing's going to need to slide over it. But if you already have one of these, don't stack another one on top, because what's going to happen is it's going to make your forks really loose. I've seen that happen a lot of times. So that's one of the biggest problems I've seen on a lot of forks. So yeah, so this is the fork. I'll kind of show you kind of how it's set up. So you're going to drop this thing on here. I'm not going to put grease on it and stuff like that because I'm doing the video and I'm touching a lot of parts. I don't want everything to be greasy. I don't want to take time to be wiping my hands. But yeah, so let's kind of do it. So it's going to go like this. This thing's going to go right here. You're going to put the cap on right here. You're going to put the stem, or if it's shaking and it's not getting tight, you probably want to put a washer or something like that on the bottom or the top right here, and then you want to drop your stem on, and then usually put the fork cap on like so and thread it down to tighten it up. I noticed that this one has a bigger washer. If yours has a big washer like that, that's designed for a flat stem. A lot of stems nowadays have a recessed cutout right here. So what that does is it allows the actual fork cap to drop down in there and sit nice and flat. Looks super clean. So yeah, that's kind of how we're going to throw it together. So I'll kind of show you how I do that, and then talk about it. Pull all this stuff off. So what you're going to want to do first is you're going to want to lightly grease this. You could just put a little bit of dab on your finger, run it across, and just make it look, a little wet. So you're going to want to do that. Drop the bearing on. A lot of people end up greasing this bearing here. I don't like to do that just because it gives it a lot of extensive grease and stuff like that, and it just gets all over. So what I like to do is just put a little bit of grease right here and then run my finger just right inside of here. Take off any excess grease. It doesn't have to be globbed, just real thin coat so that it touches every moving part. If it doesn't touch every single moving part, what's going to do, it's going to creak because water gets in there, rust gets in there, it builds up like a texture, like sandpaper, and then it causes it to kind of grind and stuff like that. So you're going to want to do that, and then you're going to want to just slide the fork in. You're going to do the same thing to the top before you slide the fork in. You're going to grease this slightly. You're gonna grease the little edge right here of this bearing. You're gonna drop it in. Then you're gonna take your compression washer. You're gonna drop that bad boy in. Sometimes these things drop in nice, sometimes they don't. I'm gonna kind of use my fingers to help it drop in. So it helps it drop in. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the headset cap, or if you have a washer or anything like that, you're gonna want to put that little tiny wafer washer in there, and then put the cap on like so. Now notice how it's a really tight fit. It's not really gapped and stuff like that. If you have a different frame and let's say it has a bigger gap, sometimes there is a bigger gap because the bearing's taller, the frame's machined differently. They create it to have their own special cap, and that's where those one caps come in that are actually rubbing on the frame. So we're gonna drop that in, and I'm gonna do this because I see a lot of people experience this. So yeah, so yeah, we're gonna drop the stem in, but when I drop the stem in, I'm gonna pull this out of the rack so you can see it. So when I pull this in, notice how the fork's sticking up above the actual stem. That's a big no-no. You definitely don't want that unless you're gonna put a washer up on the top and put the cap on. So if you're gonna do that, I recommend if you just bought a brand new pair of forks or a brand new frame and you put it all together, I would suggest not cutting your fork at the moment. Some of you advanced guys kind of know what cutting your fork is. I'll explain that a little bit. But I want to do that so that you could kind of find out where you want your actual stem to be, because then you could put a washer here and make your bars taller, and it'll kind of make the bike feel different. So yeah, so for this case, what I'm going to do is going to put a little washer right here, and then I'm going to throw the stem on top. A big thing that I've seen happen with these forks, I've seen a lot of videos, we post a lot of videos and stuff like that. I've seen people ride and stuff like that and snap their fork in half. A lot of the times that's because they're riding this washer and then they're putting their stem on. So if you don't want your forks to do that, I would suggest taking the washer off and try to run it as low as possible. So if you have that problem while riding and stuff like that, that would be a big solution. A lot of people don't realize it, but there's threads in here, and if the stem's too high up on the top of the fork, what it's going to do, it's going to either snap it off, or if it doesn't have enough meat on it, it's just going to snap that cap and just rip your whole stem off. So if you see a lot of those videos and think they have crappy forks, nah, I don't think they have crappy forks. They're either used, they've been through hell and back, or they just ran their stem way too high and didn't really pay attention to anything. And yeah, they're not riding safe. So so we're just gonna throw the washer on the bottom, just so that we don't have to cut the fork or anything like that. If you do want it slammed, there's some threads in here. Just don't cut on the threads. You want to cut down the actual fork just slightly under the actual stem. So once you figured out where you want the actual stem, then you could cut down the fork a 1/4 inch, 1/8 inch, 1/2 inch, but try not to cut on the threads. If you do, make sure you get a file and kind of clean up that little edges. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So let's do that. Drop that one on. We're gonna do the headset here. Now, like I said, this washer is way too big, so it's not gonna actually fit on the top of the stem. So we're just gonna run this like so. So if you have, this has threads on it. I'm gonna show you real quick. You could cut it. There's a line right here to cut it if you're not running, if you cut your actual fork, because this will bottom out and it won't actually thread in there. Usually you have a nut or a hex head right here, and you just tighten this up. On the press fit frames, they usually don't have sealed bearings, so this is where you kind of have to slowly tighten it up until it doesn't shake, but it also doesn't turn. So what we're gonna do is just slightly tighten this up, and you're not gonna crank it down. You're gonna kind of, what I like to do is I usually set my stem slightly to the left or counterclockwise, tighten it up to where I kind of want it to be, and then I could actually turn my stem over without the cap tightening up, or it slightly tightens it up. I notice if you have it to the right and then you turn it to the left, it actually loosens up the cap. So I see you guys having a lot of problems with that. I hope that helped. That's what I like to do. Also too, usually what I'll do is I'll mount the wheel, and at the end I'll straighten up the actual handlebars. So slightly snug it up. You want to make sure it spins. You want to move your bars forward and backwards to make sure that there's no rock in it. You don't want to have to crank it down too much. You don't really have to crank it down too much. So do that, and then what I like to do is I like to get it kind of close to being straight, and once it's kind of close to being straight, what I like to do is I like to snug up these bolts, but I don't crank it down. What I do is I like to just snug it up slightly on both sides, because when you're actually checking to see if your forks are loose or they're moving or it's not tight, what happens is that when you do that, you'll actually feel the stem moving, and you think you need to tighten it down more, and you'll start cranking on it, and you'll just crush the bearings or just strip the threads on your fork cap. Seen that happen thousands of times. You get a big buff beefy guy, and he just oh, I gotta tighten everything, and he just jacks up everything and then goes, hey, it wasn't me. That thing sucks, and you know, what I mean, let their testosterone kind of get the best of them. So just snug it together. Keep these bolts slightly tight. Straighten your wheel out just a little bit. Okay, it's perfect. And then what you want to do is you want to tighten these bolts down completely. And then once they're tightened down completely, you want to snug them up real good. Make sure your wheels align perfectly. Check it again. And then what you want to do is you want to come up to this cap and just give it a little snug, tightening, because what that does is it actually locks it down to the stem, and it doesn't allow the stem to come up. So like if you do take a big hit or something like that, it'll actually suck it up, and it'll keep it tight. So yeah, that's pretty much it for, you know what I mean, how to install a headset. And you know what I mean, if you have a regular headset, just kind of slowly tighten it up, and that's a little bit more finessing and it takes a little bit more time. Maybe take it to a professional because it is kind of difficult. Yeah, I think I kind of hit everything on the head, hit some tips and stuff like that for you pros, hit some stuff for you novice people, give you guys a little bit of knowledge of what the actual parts are, and you know what I mean, hopefully this helps you put your headset together correctly and get it together right. So yeah, I think the only other, yeah, that's pretty much it, I think. But yeah, if I missed something, hit me up in the comments, ask me, I'll shoot you a message back or comment back, and try to help you out and guide you in the right direction. But yeah, that's it. Hope this helped you guys out, and yeah, hopefully you guys learned some bar spins, tail whips, whatever. But yeah, like I said before, we're gonna give away a free parts package from Stranger and a free bicycle from somebody. All you gotta do is subscribe to this channel, like this video, turn on your notification bells, and then leave me a comment. Let me know what you like about these videos, what you don't like about these videos, products that you want to see on here, how-tos you want to see on here. We just started this thing up, and we want to help you guys out. So just shoot us one of those comments, and we'll help you right back out by hooking you guys up with some free stuff. And at 2,500 subscribers, we're going to give that parts package filled with 2 tires, pair of grips, and a seat, all from Stranger. But we actually are giving it from the shop. We're just trying to hook you up with the Stranger brand because we think they're tight. And yeah, at 5,000 subscribers, we're going to give away a free bicycle retailed at $289.95. And that's all you got to do to enter. Every entry enters you into this contest and any in the future. So you could go back and watch some of our old videos. There's some right there and right there. And yeah, enter those contests too. And yeah, have fun. We hope you guys win. And thanks a lot for supporting our channel. Thanks for watching me, Alvarado, and Stack BMX. You can find us on Instagram at Stack BMX Shop, and Facebook at facebook.com/Stack BMX. And yeah, thanks for watching once again. We hope this helped you guys out. Hope you guys learned some new tricks. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.